All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a company called WHT Global Holding. Their whole mission is about building a more resilient tomorrow. So the big question is, how are they actually planning to pull that off? When you look at a city skyline, what do you really see? It's so much more than just a bunch of buildings, right? It's steel and glass, sure, but it's also this incredible display of vision, strategy, and just massive, massive coordination. So in this explainer, that's what we're going to do. We're going to break down exactly how a modern holding company like WHT Global sets itself up to shape development not just locally, but on a truly global scale. Okay, but before we get into the nuts and bolts of their blueprint for the future, let's get to know the architects behind this whole vision. First off, their home base is in Bucharest, Romania, and that's no accident. It's this perfect strategic crossroads, acting as a bridge between the well-established economies in the West and the fast-growing markets in the East. And make no mistake, this isn't just a local operation. WHT Global is playing on the world stage, with operations and partnerships that span at least 3 continents. That global reach, it's absolutely essential to how they do business. Their focus is super sharp, but also really ambitious. They're targeting 5 key sectors, basically the lifeblood of any modern economy. And we're going to get into exactly what those are in just a second. And what ties it all together? Their mission. It's all about achieving sustainable growth. And they do it with 2 key engines, innovation and collaboration. You'll see this philosophy is kind of baked into everything they touch. In fact, their own motto sums it up perfectly. A group built for the future. I mean, that's a pretty bold claim, right? It says they're not just thinking about next quarter, but about the long-term challenges ahead. All right, so if that's the who, let's get into the how. Their whole strategy is built on what they call the 5 pillars of growth. Think of this as their actual blueprint for building the future. Just 5, that's the magic number here. It's the core of their entire strategy. They pour their expertise and their capital into 5 specific yet interconnected sectors. And the cool part is how they all reinforce each other. So here they are, the 5 pillars holding up their foundation. You've got construction, energy, finance, real estate, and technology. I mean, each one of those is a huge industry by itself. So let's zoom in a little. Okay, first up, construction and infrastructure. And we're not just talking about putting up a few buildings here. Think way bigger. We're talking about massive, large-scale projects, things like bridges and highways that literally connect communities and give economies a major boost. Next, pillar number 2 is renewable energy. This is a huge one, right? With the whole world pushing for sustainability, they're right in the middle of that green transition, developing the kinds of solar and wind projects that can power entire regions. But let's be real, those enormous infrastructure and energy projects, they don't just magically fund themselves. And that brings us to pillar 3, finance. You can think of this as the engine room of the whole operation. It's where they put together the really complex cross-border investments that are needed to turn these ambitious plans into actual reality. Pillar number 4 takes us to real estate. Here, the focus really shifts to shaping the places we live and work. They're crafting high-end residential and commercial spaces that are all about redefining what urban living looks like in the future. And finally, we have pillar number 5, technology. Now, this is important. It's not some separate, siloed-off department. Technology is literally woven into the fabric of everything else they do. We're talking smart infrastructure, digital tools. It's the tech that makes all their other projects smarter, more efficient, and way more resilient. Okay, so we've covered the what and the how. But what about the why? Why this specific approach? Let's dig into the guiding principles that really form the bedrock of their decision-making. It really comes down to a 3-part philosophy. First, you have sustainability, and for them, that's a balance between people, the planet, and profit. Second is integrity, which means being transparent and ethical in everything they do. And third is innovation, that constant push to find new ways to solve the complex problems of tomorrow. And this quote here, it just nails their take on sustainability. It's not an either-or choice between the environment and economic growth. For them, it's about integrating the 2. The ultimate goal is for every single project to leave communities stronger and ecosystems healthier than they found them. Okay, so let's zoom out and connect all these dots. We've got this high-level vision, right? The 5 pillars, the 3 core values. But how does all of that actually translate into something tangible, into real-world impact? Well, this is where it all clicks. On one hand, you have the big picture global network. That's the vision. And on the other, you have the very real local impact, like a bridge being built that people use every day. This is their core mission in a nutshell, turning that huge global strategy into something that creates real, tangible value on a local level. So if we were to boil it all down, what are the key takeaways here? Well, it's a model that's built on some serious expertise across a bunch of different industries. It gets a huge boost from its global network. The whole thing is held together by transparent governance, which is crucial for protecting investors and partners. And maybe most importantly, it's driven by this dual focus. It's not just about financial returns, it's about creating real value for the community too. And that really leaves us with one last big question to think about. I mean, this company has its blueprint, sure, but it kind of brings up a bigger challenge for all of us, doesn't it? As we all look to the future, how are we going to choose to build our shared tomorrow?